In DC, for DC. DC Radio, 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov.
Welcome to What? Wait, what happened? Hey man, welcome to Co-Play Media. Today we have two very special guests with us today. We got our own non-blerds. We got non-blerd identifying people here with us today talking about Lovecraft Country. I can't wait.
Talking about blerd stuff. Let's be real.
We will be talking about blerd stuff, yes.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Mostly around Lovecraft Country. I love that show. Like I of course, for anybody watching in, definite ultimate spoilers coming in hot, just so you know.
There's heavy cream, D.
Yeah, there's a lot of cream.
Heavy cream.
Heavy cream.
What does that mean?
Cream spoilers. The spoilers.
Yeah.
All right.
It's cream spoilers.
Oh.
See, if you was blerd, you would know about that stuff.
You didn't know it either, right? It's like the Lashawn. You didn't know what that meant either, right?
I did. And
like that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Whatever. Anyway.
So I guess we should go with introduction. So this is Stephanie.
Hello.
And
Mrs. Lashawn.
Hi.
And we have you guys here to give us like a Black woman, perspective of what I think was one of the best shows of 2020. Definitely helped me get through this terrible time, but it's just been such a great show for us to watch. And I just wanted to share our thoughts about it and talk about it and see what y'all thought about it and stuff like that. And, I guess, should we do a second to introduce y'all, talk about why y'all are not blerds at all, but still love this show?
Sure.
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
Stephanie kicking it off. Stephanie.
All right. So I guess in the traditional sense, I'm a nerd. I like learning. I like books and reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really into anime and games.
You do play a lot of mobile games though.
But those are like mind games, not games. Like my brother always gave me an unplugged remote controller, and I thought I was really playing. I was not, but I did think I was. But that's all right. I never got the hand-eye coordination with the stuff, and I just would push all the buttons, and that was the extent to my gaming experience. But if it's Tetris or logic games, I got you.
Yeah, Candy Crush. I remember you were level 1200 on Candy Crush. You was
Yo, so here's my thing. You said you played Tetris. I feel like a lot of nerds play Tetris.
I said traditional sense nerds, yes.
Yeah, but not like that.
But
not like Mortal Kombat finished. I always died very, very quickly. The Mike Tyson boxing game.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're checking off a lot of these boxes.
I just, I don't see it that way. I just saw it as logical games, like those puzzles. I like that type of stuff. And then I would have never gotten into anime if he and I weren't together. Never would have bothered to ever watch it. And there's certain animes I do like.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah. Avatar, which I guess technically isn't an anime.
I count The Last Avatar as anime in my perspective.
Okay, yeah. Avatar is definitely anime. It fits.
It does it? Okay.
I take it.
I think so. I think it checks off all the boxes. It has the art style. It has the story. You know what I'm saying? It has the coming of age, growth and development of the main character and the crew. You know what I'm saying? So I think Avatar is definitely anime.
If not anime, it's definitely animated. It's a good animated show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, I think the other one that I like, Psychopaths. Yeah.
Psychopaths was really good.
Psychopaths.
All very thinking type shows. I don't really like. I did like that one season of JoJo's Bizarres, but the rest of it.
Which season was that?
It was the one where everybody blew up.
Oh,
Diamond Dust.
And like, because I was trying to figure out, I was like, ooh, how they gonna catch them? Like, I like the thinking.
Okay. All right. So what about you, Lashawn? Because
Yeah, I was clueless to all of that because I only know of Naruto.
I think I tried to get her to like read Bleach one time. Oh, you've been watching Food Wars?
Food Wars?
Into Food Wars? I don't even try.
I think it's because you had it on and it was like you weren't going to change the channel.
Man, she was like,
not gross.
She was like, next episode, please. Like,
I don't recall saying
orgasmic show.
I mean, that's just a byproduct of really good cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever had some good chicken? You're like, that's
too
much.
I'm with you. That was nasty.
It wasn't nasty. It was just, you know, it was to show how good the food was.
She was into it.
No. I was into it because you were into it, but it was no.
They always say that.
It was one of the situations where she actually got upset because I kept watching it at one point. She's like, "Oh, you gonna keep watching it without me?" I was like, "Yeah."
No, I think that was probably the first 2 episodes. Just to have a talking thing, just to get into your world, trying to understand it.
Nah, don't try to play me like that.
I thought the show was didn't it incorporate like real cooking elements in the show? Like,
true. You learn certain techniques you didn't know about, and certain dishes and everything go together. It was, but then it kind of got a little too much with the whole. As soon as they tasted that whole reaction and the drawing and all, it was just too much. But it was too explicit for me.
It happens in real life just without the clothes disappearing.
The clothes disappeared.
Sometimes where the females would be on objects that was just like ill.
So I'm with you on that. Like, that's the thing that drives me about anime. It's very hypersexual.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, ain't no woman walking around with boobies that big. First of all, she would fall over face forward. That is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form.
She could have a really strong back.
Really?
Strong back muscles.
Word.
It's just
Miss Dorsey muscles.
No. You know what I'm saying? That
No.
Anyway, so we have these beautiful women here.
Yep.
Are gonna act like they're not into anime, but they are.
You're fake. Yeah.
Everything that makes a blerd a blerd.
I could have sworn I took you to BlerdCon. Didn't I take you to BlerdCon?
Yeah, you took me.
She enjoyed going to BlerdCon. Like, she enjoyed BlerdCon. Like, she was like, BlerdCon is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's been there. She's definitely done that in the past. She was like,
so Steph has actually been indoctrinated. Like, she's actually been immersed.
I think once you walk through the hallway, you walk through the hall, you're already like indoctrinated. How does that go? You joined up, you know. You walk through the hallway.
You in there?
With you.
No.
You in
there. She loved it. She loved it.
But with that being said, though, how do you guys, as Black women, because I feel like Lovecraft Country, I feel like it had a lot to do with woman empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
So as Black women, like, how did you guys feel about the show overall? Like, what was your big takeaways as women of color?
I guess the episode that spoke to me the most was the Hippolyta episode.
I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just her going through that self-discovery, and it just felt very empowering, especially when she went to the time period with Josephine Baker. You know, Josephine Baker was known for like she was very sexual, but she celebrated that part of it. And then to see that Hippolyta, the actress, you know, her body wasn't like the other dancers, but it was like she became comfortable in that sense. And then she just had this freedom where she was just exploring, you know, her sexuality, and she was even some drug use in it.
Oh yeah,
a lot
of drinks. I was like, these are some weird looking cigarettes.
And then I recall the part when she was like the warrior scene. I thought that was great. And then I don't know, it was just very empowering. And then I think for me, it was just that when she was talking about, you know, her relationship with George and how she felt like, you know, that kind of held her back in pursuing what she wanted to do. I think as women, girlfriends, wives, you kind of sometimes feel that way. So I just thought that part was really good. And I just like each of the female characters in the story because you got a sense of different characteristics from ones, even little D and how, you know, what she experienced in her episode. And then, you know, with Ruby, I felt like she was dealing with like self-identity issues. And then like Letty, she was to me, very fierce, very strong. Yeah. So you kind of got a sense of people that you see, or friends or family members that those characteristics in each one. So I kind of related to each character in that sense. So.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing that I realized that I was in denial of, that I realized at the end of the season, was that Letty was the main character, and like she stole the show as the main character too. Like you thought it was Tick this whole time because so many elements surrounded Tick, but then as the story progressed, you realize, like I was like, okay, so they're like a couple going through it, and then like by the end, I was like, yeah, like this show is Letty. Like this show is straight up about Letty for real. Like it's her having the kid and going on, like Tick is there and he's involved in the story heavily, but I realized that she was the main character in there.
Yeah.
There's a part where she even tells Tick that it's not about him, that it's about all of them together. But I agree with everything that you said, Lashawn, and I think even the important part, the naming and feeling like you have to shrink yourself.
Yeah.
It is so important. And then you couple that with D and the silence, right? And the being ignored as Black women.
Yeah.
And with our high rates, I forgot where I read it, but they were talking about in the way that police kill Black men is the way that the medical field kills Black women, right? Yeah. And like that people don't listen to us and our voices. And when we're talking, and it feels so visceral right now of like, I often tell my husband, I'm just like, I could literally like go into work and shout at the top of my lungs some craziness and no one would hear me. Mm-hmm. And if someone did, they'd be like, oh, just having a bad day. Oh, so adorable, you little Negro, you.
Look at you sharing your feelings.
Oh, you little sassy things.
We're going to give you 15 minutes to let it out, and you got to go back to work now.
And just seeing all those emotions and feelings captured in a very real way. Yeah. And in a way that it wasn't, I think oftentimes people think it's about breaking down and crying, and it's not. And it just, so there's so many reactions to it, but there's also the strength in it of like, how do you still find your voice when people try to take your voice from you, literally?
Yeah.
Definitely. And I thought that one thing that I thought that was really cool was the way that they integrated real events, like the traveling guide, and I really noticed it at first. Like when I went back and looked at it, it wasn't so much that Hippolyta's man was mean or anything, but you could kind of, when you go back and rewatch it, it was like, well, yeah, he was kind of doing it intentionally. Like she was talking about going with them. He got bad knees, you know. He couldn't run through the whole show. Like for the first 3 shows, like my man, like they just talking about, like my man couldn't run like the whole time.
Yeah, like his knees.
Yeah.
And he's still like, baby, you shouldn't go. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't walk. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't do like basic things.
And I think that was just him. I think in a way, just being Black in that time period, him trying to protect her and keep her away from, the evil of the world, basically, he turned her into this kind of a housewife type of figure or homebody, where it's like, all right, I'm out on the road, you stay home, you take care of the kids, make sure the shop don't burn down, basically. And yeah, because of that, she doesn't have time to do whatever she wants, like, follow her dream of dancing and singing and whatnot, because she's taking care of home while he's out, basically in the wild. But then that makes me wonder too, like, how would women back in the day get around that? Because that's how it was. Like, that was the culture. You know what I mean?
I thought one thing that really stuck out to me was that also framed how Black women weren't listened to was the subtle comics that came from D. Like, if you notice that everything that she was drawing about was related to something that that the travelers would experience, and I thought that was such a weird circumstance. That even after bringing it up, like, I remember Tick was like, she still writes on the maps, and you see the trolls on there, you see the monsters on there, you see Artem on there, and these are all things that you don't really notice and no one really says anything about. But it was one of those things of somebody saying something the whole time and no one really listening to her, even when she's being chased by the curse, right?
Yeah.
And what's his name grabs her. And what's like, he's grabbing her. He's like, "What's wrong, girl?" And she's like, "Yo, I'm being chased. Like, go with me." Like, I got my corner right here. I got my bat. Like, I'm ready. You messing stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just get off me. And if you would have listened to her, she would have never even lost her arm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean,
she might have had a chance. She was getting around. She was doing okay for the most part of the day until someone like held her, like, literally.
I mean, I think at that point too, though, that was the point where she just kind of was like, if they're gonna get me, they're gonna get me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was inevitable, because even with her swinging the bat, I don't think she was doing much. I think they was gonna get her regardless. But I think that maybe him seeing what happened to her arm, was the catalyst for everything else that happened after that. As far as them like taking her serious, like, this magic is legit.
Yeah, like, there's nothing I can do about it. Right. And then, and I guess we can use that to segue into that whole slave magic thing and how it integrates in, like, and I still don't kind of understand the magic system of, like, I guess the Book of Adam and Titus and Titus's pages and stuff like that. Like, I'm still a little bit lost. Like,
so I found the magic interesting in that it seems like he had to go to a native or more primitive part of the world to even find this magic, right? So it looks like the language that it was written in was like one of those forgotten languages, or one of those languages that don't make it out of the jungle. You know what I mean? Where, most people won't travel, because Titus was like a traveler, right? Or discoverer.
That's what it was. He was like a discoverer. That's why he was in the museum for all the stuff and everything.
He was almost like Christopher Columbus.
That's what it was. So he was like
on stuff, just kind of randomly finding stuff. But like you were saying, like, the rules to the magic, I think the rules are pretty clear cut as far as using spells. What's not clear cut to me is how do you make your own spell? Because the way Christina made it sound is like usually one person makes one spell in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the sacrifice to make this one new spell?
So I don't like I agree that Titus was like definitely an explorer, but if these cultures had created this book and this magic and understood it, then I would argue that they weren't primitive. I would argue that they were like actually super advanced because then they understood this and we don't.
But then it's like the book seemed like it was just compiled by somebody, maybe not Titus, but to me it seems like somebody put this book together.
What I understood it to be was like, because when it was either Hannah or Letty, one of them said it when they said it's either Titus or Christina, and they're like, it was never yours to begin with. And they were talking about the magic.
Oh, okay.
And so to your point of like Columbus saying, yes, discovering something that already exists and it ain't yours and then saying it's yours. Absolutely. That's what Titus did. So I think he came across something.
True.
Took credit for it. And like, that's why he held on to it, because he was the only one that had translated part of it. Yeah. And I think that's why he had, I believe her name was Yemoe. The two-spirit person, which that was a super messed up way to kill off that character. Yeah.
We're gonna go back to that, but
no plot armor.
Right at all.
But yeah, so I don't think that so I think he came upon something, realized that it had something to it, and then just took it.
So do you think he built that fraternity around that book itself?
And then built the bylaws and everything around it. And that's why there was only, like, most people could only create one spell, because there was only like those 2 pages that had been translated.
True.
Because everything had been like left by Titus, and he didn't leave that much because he didn't want anybody to have as much power as he had.
True.
That's awesome.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's interesting because at the end of the day, you hear about slaves and the religion that they brought over during slavery, and how, you know, we would, I guess, try to keep the old ways before, you know, Christianity became the staple. So I think when I think about it, that's the type of stuff I think about, is like, man, like what if, you know, Black people were really the originators of this kind of thinking or this power? Because, you know, you go to Africa, you know, they took slaves from the edge of the country. They didn't really go in the middle when they were, you know, stealing slaves for slavery.
I believe that's what they were. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if they just skimmed around the side.
They did eventually.
They did. I don't think they would have made it out if they went into Africa.
So initially, in the beginning, they started on the exterior, and then when they came up with a cure for malaria, the treatment for malaria, then they were able to push into the interior, and that's why people who were taken later are going to be from the Congo and those interior places, and they pushed that into the interior. But that's also where they used, they forced people, or they used other Africans to go into the interior and take people for them. They themselves didn't go sometimes, especially in the beginning. But once the malaria treatment was created, they was in. They was in swimwear.
I mean, it's a cure for malaria, dog. You ain't gonna turn down the cure for malaria. You're like, you don't take that dice roll.
True. So, well, with that being said, like, let's stick in with the Black history. I think in more recent times, we're hearing more about the Tulsa firebombing, how they bombed, you know, Black Wall Street and all this. I had no idea, right? Like, I'm hoping that the Watchmen and Lovecraft are portraying it as accurately as possible. But if what they're showing is true, they literally had airplanes
Yes.
bombing this place.
And that was by the National Guard. That is accurate.
National Guard. And I told somebody that I was like, those planes had American markings on it. Like it was the government doing
that is accurate.
That's scary, man. That's really scary.
Crazy to me.
That's super scary.
Crazy to me. It's like you have this affluent, thriving community, and this is the length you would go to stop it. I thought that was crazy. I thought that was wow. Blew my mind. Because I had never really heard about it. I mean, you heard about Black Wall Street and how, it was a whole town of Black people, but I never saw any depiction of it and how that went down.
Well, yeah, I think one thing that history did do, which I didn't think that in American history was a very good job, is that usually with these kind of historical events, instead of saying fully what was done wrong and accepting what was happening, I think that which they actually do in a lot of German culture. I've recently found out about, where they go over and it's like, hey, like this is a bad thing that we did. Like this particular thing right here was really horrible. Yeah. And I think instead of us taking that direction, we really went with like, let's quiet it. Let's put it on the hush. We don't want anybody to get upset.
Oh, not even we don't want anybody to get upset. We don't see what we did was wrong.
That too.
Like,
true.
It's not even we don't want anybody to get upset. Like so there's a lot of riots, right? And there's a lot of things that happened that are bombings, and it's not the first nor last time that the U.S. government bombed black towns. There's when you have the Great Migration after Reconstruction ends in the South, and you have this mass exodus of Black people who are fleeing from Jim Crow. And they go north. Most people know they go north, like to Harlem and to Chicago and things like that. But there's also a wave that goes west, which is how people end up in Tulsa. And they go to Kansas, and they go because they start these all Black towns. And like Nicodemus, Kansas is one. There's still a few that exist, but the majority of them no longer are in existence. And so you set out to create your own and to do it. And they've been around, like Zora Neale Hurston's book Eatonville that she wrote. Their eyes were watching God. That's set in Eatonville. That was an all Black town. So like we've always created our own. We've always, in the face of all these different things, we've always found this resilience to make our own. And when we do too well, somebody has to step in and put us back in our place. And that putting back in place looks different as time goes on, right? Because you can't use the same tactics, because what was once acceptable of bombing and the KKK, like that's the thing with systemic things. It changes and it wants to thrive and continue. So it'll change its tactics. But like race riots, somebody put out a map of like all the race riots that have existed, and I don't necessarily like the term race riots because it makes it seem like we were equally involved in the race riots, and very rarely is that actually accurate. The majority of them were started by white people and disproportionately killed African Americans at a high rate, and then were used to loot and destroy the African American community.
Yep.
But yeah. I would say betrayals in Watchmen and Lovecraft Country do not actually go far enough to actually show the decimation that happened.
They were shooting everybody. They shot everybody, cuz.
Yeah. But there was I think
they rounded all the survivors up.
They put people in internment camps.
Yeah, like they don't really show what happened afterwards, and then it doesn't actually go far enough. Like it was actually worse.
Okay.
Or what really led to it. What happened before. I know there was something in regards to a white woman falsely accused a Black man of him raping her. And it started at the courthouse, and then shots was let off, and then that's when it led to that. But I know that there was talks of a series to kind of explore the beginning and the end of the massacre. It was supposed to be like with Lawrence Fishburne in it, and I think Jordan Peele was supposed to produce it, but it was just, so I don't even know if that's even still going to happen. But
I hope so.
it will be interesting if they are to explore that further.
Did y'all see Rosewood when y'all were younger?
Everyone,
With Ving Rhames,
With that whole scene reminded me of that. Because that was, I think it was like, what, 12 or 13?
It was way back.
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah, and definitely not good. How do you guys feel about the culture? Like, not only racial pressures, but seeing what Tick's dad was going through. Also, kind of funny in comparison what Ruby was going to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Her transition to being a lesbian was a lot smoother than her dad's.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
And it was more, The Montroses, yeah.
Yeah, Montrose. So I feel like Montrose was one of those like tragic hero types.
Okay.
Was Montrose?
Yeah, he abused his kid. I think he abused his kid, but he definitely, I feel like he was doing good, but in the wrong way. Like, he was trying to protect him from what he was going through as a gay man in this time period. I don't think he wanted his son to go through the same stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it. I feel like I got what he was trying to do.
What he was shooting for, right? Like,
what he was trying to do. I get why he was trying to do it. Because he knew what he went through himself as a gay man. Gay black man. In the
1920, was it? What was it? 1920, 1930?
Yeah,
1920s.
And it ain't easy. You already black, but then you gay and black.
Gay and black. Don't nobody like no gay black back then. Like, they really didn't like it. Unless you're a woman. It was a nice smooth transition.
No.
I'm just kidding. It wasn't, but it seemed like Montrose's was a lot more tragic. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of self-hatred that I saw in Montrose. And I felt as if there was like an intention of doing good, but his intention of doing good was overshadowed by the fact that this was the only way that he knew how. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And I'm not a dad yet, but I would think as a dad that you look at part of your job is making sure that your son is ready for the world and is tough enough to handle whatever happens. And like, really overshot that, man. Like, he just really went.
It's that whole spectrum thing. It's like you go too far one way and you end up coming back on the other side. It's like, I'm trying to do good and help you, boy, but then you coming back as this evil, abusive father figure. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like overcompensating for all the insecurities that he feels as a man. And you know what I'm saying? His kid might not even be his, but this was like his beard situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was his beard.
Going on, man. He had a lot going on. He was basically in a fake marriage to shadow the fact that he was living as a gay man.
Yeah. And doing that to protect him. And then, like, that was super weird about like his brother and his wife kind of being in on it and cool. Like, even since back then, because even when they went back in time, it was just like the three of them.
Yeah.
So even then, that's like how they.
I'm gonna say it's a lot of trauma, right? Like, so even before that, like Montrose, like, where did he learn love from? What was his example of love? And he didn't get it, right? And then the traumatic experiences that he had, like, that's just trauma.
Right.
He's repeating a broken cycle, unfortunately. And I think more so than him having good intent of wanting to prepare Tick, it wasn't really about Tick. It was about him. in him trying to work out his issues. Unfortunately, him projecting his own issues onto Tick. That's what that was all about, and how he parented Tick. He's beating something out of Tick that ain't in Tick.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, he was beating something out of Tick that wasn't there. I mean, which is still wrong to do, but it wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, I mean, but I think they did a good job of explaining why Montrose was so fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really covered him as a whole, like going back and seeing it. Like, there's nothing like seeing the abuse and knowing why someone is suffering from PTSD, right? Like, you've seen it.
Alcoholism.
Which I
was an alcoholic too.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, like when we talk about like our ancestors and things along those lines, we don't get to know their stories, right? Like when I talk to my dad about like his grandparents and things, he's just like, well, they always told us that was grown folks' business, and we don't know. We don't know why people are the way that they are. Right. And so I think it was really powerful for them to tell Montrose's story. I don't think Montrose was a hero. I think he was a human. And he was complicated on both sides. He had some really great things about him, and he had some really, really horrible things about him. And it gave us a chance to understand why he was the way he was, not necessarily to excuse his behavior, but to understand his behavior. And I think oftentimes we don't always get that as kids. And offspring, we don't always get the explanation as to why our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles do fucked up things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, they were getting extra beatings on the side. Turns out.
Again, extra beatings on the side.
How did you guys feel about the Ruby Christine relationship? Because there was still within that relationship, I still saw like a lot of wrong, toxic, bad stuff in it. Or I'm still kind of confused as to whether, Christine really loved Ruby or like the nature of the relationship. Like, how do you guys feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
I think, well, I'm going by the last episode. I think she loves her. I thought she loved her, but her ambition was more important than that love. So when you came and tried to take that file, she was like, hey, you got to go. So I think, because to me, it was just very interesting the way that whole relationship started to where it ended, because I was still confused by that scene when she was William and she took that vow just so she can have sex with William as a white woman. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
so
she got some issues.
I thought, she was just, to me, going through like a identity kind of situation. Like she was just having a crisis, yeah. And I thought if she didn't take that vow, I think they might have still had a relationship and she would still be alive. But Christina was all about her goal at the end of the day. And nobody, regardless if who you were, was going to come, before that. But
I mean, when I look at it, it was a very complicated relationship that they had, in which Christina did a lot and proved a lot that she wasn't racist or that she wasn't a bad person or that she wasn't like her dad. But at the same time, she was doing things that she didn't care, but she didn't care to the point where it's like, hey, my objectives outweigh anything else that's going on, like love, happiness, whatever you got popping off. You know what I'm saying? That's an emergency for you. I ain't got time for that. And then I gotta kill your man. I gotta kill your sister's man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and being honest about it too. Like, I gotta kill your sister's man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you wanna kill him.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it, and nobody's going to be able to stop me. If you with me, you with me. If not,
keep it moving.
I'm gonna have to X you out. Right.
Christina represents white feminism, like, in its lack of intersectionality. So she's able to have sympathy and empathize somewhat, a little bit, with people who are oppressed to a small degree, which is why she's not as bad as her dad, right? she experiences some form of oppression, but because her feminism is not intersectional, that's why she's still able to be like, but nah, my goals though, right?
All right.
Whiteness is going to supersede everything else.
True.
Because that whiteness protects her, even though she is treated as a second-class citizen because of her gender, that whiteness still affords her a protection.
I mean,
that she can't give up that privilege.
Yeah, even though she couldn't be in the order, she still knew about magic. She was exercising spell.
All the perks of being a white woman and this, attached to this society that basically is all knowing, all knowing, all powerful type of society. And yet you're in this society, you're still an outsider. Like that gotta mess with somebody too. Like it's like I'm supposed to be able to do this, do that, but because I am who I am within my own society, I'm still marginalized.
Yeah.
To an extent. And that I think that hurt her more than anything. Like not being able to rightfully basically take the throne after her dad passes away.
Well, and I think that she also like it was her idea to submit the idea of using tick for the spell, right? I think there's something about that. So it was her idea from the beginning. So she must have had some kind of knowledge about what was going to happen with Tick's spell. So she planned for her father's death, knew that the invincibility spell was going to have to be removed, uses a spell, and therefore tries to take over like the whole thing. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, and she keeps coming to you as a like an ally. She's like, I'm coming to you as an ally. I'm doing this as an ally, but the end means it's still
self-serving.
It's still self-serving.
So literally a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah,
literally.
Talking about she doesn't even really like sheep like that. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't even really eat it, like she might if she has to, but there's plenty of grass.
All right.
There's plenty of chickens around. There's other things.
But then, even then, if we go back to even her relationship with Ruby, it's almost like I care about you as much as what I can get out of you.
Yeah.
To get to my end means.
I think she loved Ruby. But I think she loved her pursuit of power more.
Well, another thing that I also realized that was weird is like going back and rewatching everything, knowing that dude is Christina the whole time, and wondering like, so how much is this is really Christina? Because Christina was saying some, the white guy was saying some live stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was first courting Ruby and stuff like that, like I could change your life forever. Let me take you to my house. Like, was he just trying to game her for her own means, or was?
Because I felt like Christina could have dropped her after she used her to do the stuff, like put this in the captain's office. And then you have that scene where she attempted to recreate Emmett Till's death after Ruby tells her, like, you don't care. And she takes it to heart enough to attempt to recreate the death. And try to see what she's missing.
But did she really get it out? Like, was it one of them situations where even after she went through it, she was just like,
I don't know. I felt
because it was no finality. Like you went
she tried it, right? Like I think that speaks volumes that she even went through the steps to even do that.
Yeah.
Right. I think that speaks to her volumes for Ruby were real, but her pursuit and her love of power was just superseded everything. Of like,
I think somewhere in her mind, after she kind of dealt with Ruby for a while, I think she started to see her as like a protege, so to speak. Kind of like, I don't want to be nerdy, but kind of like the Jedi with the Sith, right? You know what I'm talking about, D. There can only be two. You know what I'm saying? One to have the power and one to seek it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? There
Right,
could
right.
only be two.
There can only be two.
That's what it ended up being.
And I think it was kind of like there was kind of like a power pull dynamic going on between Ruby and real power and Letty and responsibility to family. Like if you were to look at all the things that Ruby was doing for Letty, and throughout the story and before we even get to know her, we know that she's borrowing money. You know, they're pretty much paying. They don't have a great life herself. You know, she seems like the irresponsible young one, and you know the other siblings are kind of carrying her, and you know you kind of see this kind of dynamic in her, and you know it kind of feels like Ruby is getting what she really wants. Like this is finally my time to shine. This is finally my power. This is someone who cares for me.
Right.
You know,
Right. Like you grown now. Mama gotta live a life too, basically.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I live mine. Like you wasn't even there for mom's funeral. I had to handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to handle everything. This is my thing right now. Hey, your boyfriend has to die. He seems like a cool guy, but whatever. You know, like, it kind of seemed like it was heading in that direction. Like,
yeah, it was.
I agree. Like
it got to a point where I legit was like, yo, Ruby is a bad guy.
Ruby is a bad guy. And you know what I feel that she went through where she changed into a white woman is it was the ability to experience cognitive dissonance, like the ability to have the option of like, I feel bad, everybody's mourning. Like I personally know this kid. He plays with he plays with like my niece or whatever, you know, somebody I know I'm close to, and they're dead and there's a riot about it. Everyone's going crazy about it. I wish I could just not think about that right now. I just want to be in someone else's body and just being able to just press pause and come and just take a break. True. And that was the magic and the power that she was really searching for at that time. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Because think about like how she treated the black girl that was at the work before she quit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I started not to like Ruby because I was like, ooh, this is what we doing, sis. We gonna
but that was like a whole other thing right there. When it wasn't about race, then I believe it became about body shaming and stuff like that. Because when they had the black girl at the department store, the day that she was trying to get in there, you know, it kind of seemed like, what is this like? Is this like, did I just miss my opportunity? And then to get the job as a white woman and find out that the black girl is woefully unqualified. You know what I'm saying? Like she did it on a limb. She didn't have no qualifications. And it was all because the manager wanted to bone. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the only reason. Like, well, we got to hire somebody. Let's hire this black person. Okay, she's straight. You know what? Whatever happens, at least she won't say anything. And you see that part that happens when they're in the they go
the alleyway.
In the alley, exactly. So he was only really having her just to harass somebody because he wasn't even touching the other three white women who were there.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but that's that black magic, you know. They got to have it.
Gotta have it, man.
They gotta have it, guys. All right.
No. So I mean, do you guys? One of my favorite episodes was the episode that introduced Gia, and expounded upon because you know, just like Naruto, you know, they said there are 9 tailed spots, man. I was in it, bro.
Yeah. Yo, so that episode was crazy to me, right? So at first you didn't know like you were going to see Tick in his army, you know, days or whatever. But the way he could, I guess, cut off his humanity, you know what I'm saying? Like he just walked up to the dude and was like, boom, like he didn't have any facial expression. I was like, whoa.
Like the loogie that he spit before he did it, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me go ahead and pow. Like he just didn't care. Like he was just like, I'm not gonna think about this.
Yeah, it's like he was a totally different person, or Tick just wasn't there. which actually made me feel bad for him.
Oh yeah, seeing Tick cry,
Yeah,
man.
it made me feel bad for him because it's like you hear about like even now guys coming back from the war, and it's like you don't really know what these guys are going through or what they have to do, under orders, because you given the order. If you deny to do an order, that's treason.
It's treason.
And I think you can be killed for disobeying.
Do it at the wrong time. Yeah.
So you got this guy, telling Tick, "Hey, come on, I need you to kill this guy to make an example for the rest of them because we got to get to the bottom of something."
I get to the bottom of it. You can't do it. Come on, man.
You just did it without a second thought.
I mean, you can't dilly dally in the military. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be like, I protest.
Yeah.
That's not one of the rights that you have there. And I think it was great showing like the duplicity between Tick and like a black dude straight hiding his emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna remember this in the morning.
Straight up, like that was like the perfect depiction of, hey, I'm going through this stuff, but then when I get my moment, I'm gonna have a breakdown. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what G.I. sees. Like she sees him break down. She sees the fact that it does affect him, and that even though he didn't have the time right there in the moment to say that he feels bad or show that he cares, as she confesses that, he was the person that killed her best friend, who was gay, by the way. I didn't get that at first. Like when I went back and watched it, she was not just communist, but she was trying to, she was trying to, you know what I'm saying, with the hand holding. I was like, I see that, you know what I'm saying, with the socks. She was like, yeah, I'm digging the socks. I was like, like, so like implications in the relationship. I really dug that. I forgot what I was talking about, but yeah.
Talking about Tick and G.I.'s relationship. So
yeah,
I mean, how do you feel about it? I mean, it was
I don't know, because she was the nine-tail
the nine-tail fox.
Yes, spirit. Nine-tail fox spirit. And then the fact that, she was able to fall in love with a person.
A black man.
At that. But then to go through that whole part of, I just thought it was very interesting because you knew this was the man that, that killed your best friend. And then you went through that whole thing of, plotting this revenge to get back on him, I felt like, in a sense, to where you end up falling in love with this guy. And then when you guys finally make love, then you had to hold back, or you controlled yourself from going through killing him. But I thought the relationship was genuine. I think he truly did love her, or they loved each other. But I think he also loved Letty, but the fact that when she came back, it was trying to rewarn him of what she, saw in her vision. It just tells that, she genuinely did care for him and love him. But, Atticus had his own battles going on because he knew that what she saw, he was possibly going to have to deal with that when he got back home. And then the fact that he met Letty, and then he found out she has a son, and he's dealing with that. But then I liked the scene when he was saying, we're family. So, because, she lost her family. And I just thought that was, I don't know, because I know Gia was like a romantic. So it kind of just was like, oh, that's so sweet. So.
Truth is, all right.
What's the truth?
Tick ain't never break up with Gia. Let's be.
I mean, the way he ran out of there,
he ain't never break up. He was still calling this chick. Like, he was still calling her like.
I mean,
but I think he was trying.
He got tentacles like attached
He liked it. Look, he was still
He did not
calling
like it. I think he wanted to see if it was like.
You try to figure out what happened too.
It was like, yo, you're my first one. Like, does this happen? Like, is that like a thing? All women in
You didn't do it like you doing it.
Oh, you know what? I can't.
Was I supposed to? Because I did. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, but then one of the tentacles like might have grazed his butt or something, and he was like, "Yo, my dad warned me."
You know what?
About.
I can't do what they are.
You know what? Because I definitely remember the Asian dude, and that tail definitely went up his butt.
He went up his butt.
It went up his butt.
I gotta rewatch that episode. That's not recall for that.
It got a little hentai-ish.
Look, right. So basically, what happened with their relationship, right?
Uh-huh.
When Gia showed up, Tick had not broken up with her yet. That was still his girl. All right, let's be real.
You know that
No.
was the conversation they had. Like, what are you doing here? That's my man.
Stalker.
What you mean?
Logic.
We was together and
That
then
is
he left.
stalker.
So I'm here to break him home.
Crazy
You know what I'm saying?
logic.
I'm bringing him home because his life is in danger. I had a vision.
No.
You know that conversation happened.
No.
I'm telling y'all what it is.
No.
He was still calling her long distance. You know how expensive that is?
You know how many numbers he said while calling her? How do you remember those many numbers? It was 28 numbers.
If
No.
came out, I bet you remember the number.
I don't know, man. Maybe not. We'll see. As long as, you know, load at the end.
So long story short, though, with the Gia situation, so basically, she saw his future. So did their actions change the future? Like, what's different from her powers than like the time machine, dimension machine? You know what I'm saying?
So the time machine dimension, like, I think that because remember she said I got to get you to the right Earth, like your version of Earth. I think there's different versions of Earth and different timelines.
Gotcha.
And I think Gia saw his death, but didn't understand necessarily what she was seeing fully, if that makes sense, and needed it to be interpreted fully and correctly. I think Tick is dead. I don't know if Ruby's fully dead. Like, you know, when a character dies off screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
So I have an issue with that. I think as big of a character as Ruby was, she should have not died off screen like that. That was
bring her back. Because they got the book now, and they can like spell it and be like, and she'd be back.
Well, they can use the same spell that was used on Letty, right? Same spell. Letty was shot, died, came back.
That's all I'm saying. They get back and do and she'd be back.
It was that quick. It was that quick. It's like 3 words. You know what I'm saying? It's like that quick.
Man.
So
I think Tick is dead. Like, you can't bring back all that blood is gone.
See, but that's
like
not.
He might come back.
Oh, Tick?
I think he might come back.
Yeah, I don't think Tick is dead. I don't think a lot of the main characters are actually fully dead, especially since clearly they can travel if they have this time machine, travel to different dimensions, apparently. Because Tick done went back and he, was the guy that I guess saved Montrose and them from getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Tick ended up being the stranger.
But D was the one that gave him the book.
And D was the one that gave him the book, yes.
Yeah.
And he was the one that gave her the book. When they do the flashback, they show him giving her the book. They show him giving her the book. They show him giving her the spell to summon what was it called? Goroth?
So the
Shogoroth?
Fire monster.
Yeah.
Shaba?
Yeah.
That thing. So
Vampire dogs, man, because that's what they look like.
Hellfire dogs. We'll roll with that. That's cool with me. When he showed her how to summon that, and I have a theory, probably early on, but I have a theory that D is probably going to be like the next probably bad guy.
No. I
Really?
reject that theory.
So I think
D don't give a fuck. I mean, she don't care no more.
D is like it, I think one thing that goes into what y'all were saying before about black women being ignored, about and if you take a look at it, no one really looked about how bad the kids was having it. Like the kids was having it really bad. Like those were bad times. Like there was a burning cross outside the house y'all was playing in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your best friend died. The police beat you up. You 13. You riding your bike.
Police spit on you. Face.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like losing her mom, losing her dad, like losing her mom, her dad, and her arm. So she can't even draw. So she lost her talent that made her feel good.
D doesn't care about anything at this point except revenge and making people pay, I think.
Yeah.
White people.
Yeah.
They structured that narrative strong enough to like her killing Christina. I felt like came out of nowhere. Like
Let's have that conversation.
Like what you call it, the Hellfire dog. If the Hellfire dog had killed Christina and she stood by and watched it, I'd be like, "Yep, that makes sense." But like you strangling somebody is very intimate, even with the mechanical arm. That is a very close, personal. Like, ha 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 ha! I'm gonna watch the life drain from your eyes. Like, ooh, that's intense. Like, ooh. I don't feel like they developed her enough to just turn into a cold-blooded murderer.
Nothing good can come from D killing Christina with a metal arm and her walking off with that dog. Nothing good can come of this.
She's got to be the next villain, bro.
I can see why y'all say that, yeah.
And she would because me and her, we were talking about this before about like there's not enough story development for D to be a bad character. And what I think is that no one paid enough attention to D.
Yeah.
Realize because think about it. Even in the things that I have issues with, her sneaking into the police station. I don't know how a little black girl was sneaking to a police station and spit on the police chief, but she did it. You know what I'm saying? And then went like still running from the curse and everything to make her stand. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not an idea of a regular like 12, 13-year-old girl. Like I'm going to go here, the monster here. I got a bat. I'm going to make my stand. Like these are low-key gangster moves that she's trying to pull off. Like
these are the moves of an anti-hero. These are the moves of a character that this character is in some type of gray area, right? She's not good, but she might not be all the way bad either. But she definitely in a gray area where she's gonna do whatever she gotta do to do.
But was anybody all good? And was anybody all bad?
I think
I feel like all the characters are flawed.
I think
the only good character that I would say was good through and through was Hippolyta.
She abandoned her whole damn daughter.
Well, I don't think that makes her bad. She didn't do anything evil though.
She didn't do anything on purpose.
Yeah.
But didn't she have the choice to come back though?
She sure did.
She took the choice. She made the choice after 200 years.
Exactly.
She was gone for 200 years, but really it was like 20 minutes.
Sooner.
It was really like 4 or 5 weeks.
I get the complicatedness of it, right? Like she needed some time for herself to grieve and things along those lines. But she did just up and leave her whole child. Like didn't make sure the child was taken care of or nothing. Just was like ghost.
Yeah.
True.
She's like, I need to be a African warrior princess. You know what I'm saying? This is more important.
So I guess the question then is like, what? Back to the whole like, you know, black women in society. What is a woman to do? What is a mother to do in that situation where she feels she needs time?
I think that's a good question for us to pose.
Not leave her with Tick and Letty.
Yeah, I mean, them they probably had their own kid. They tripping out here.
Not leave her with those three.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Hey, Ruby was not looking for her.
I feel like she would have been safer with Christina.
Don't be You can't look for children in that position.
Yeah.
Because I think they were so focused on trying to keep her from knowing, you know, where her mom is gone, to where they just wasn't paying too much attention to her, which is what happened to her in the episode.
Yeah, they probably was like, just go ahead and draw in your book or something.
Do whatever you do. Your best friend's dead. Your mom is missing. You can get away with anything.
All right, your dad is dead too.
Your daddy is dead. Your mom is missing. Your best friend.
George, man.
Nah, get away from us. We got things to do.
I remember seeing the newspaper because I forgot it was an open casket, and then seeing the open casket. Oh man, I forgot about them complaining about the smell too. The whole smell.
Yeah. It was a hot day.
Yeah.
So this ain't even like a regular murder. Like your best friend got stomped out. Like y'all was just kicking it, and then like y'all know the police that killed him and beat him to death. Like
No, it wasn't police.
it wasn't police.
No,
Who was it?
it was
A neighborhood, I mean, men or whatever.
So it was a mob.
no. It was this white man and his brother.
It was two dudes, but he was
Well,
still
more people
like
that got in
14.
on
Yeah,
it, but
it was.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I like how they do that too. They kind of intertwine reality with this TV show.
Exactly.
Like the main characters were directly related to a lot of this stuff that happened in history. You know what I mean? Like they lived in Tulsa when that was going down. Dee's best friend is Emmett Till. You know what I mean? I like
Weird remark. Reference to Martin Luther King.
The green book guide.
Right. They made the Green Book basically.
You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was an amazing story for them to use and base it off right there. And I think the book that they started out with, because the book is finished from the end of this season. So whatever else they choose to do is there's no, you know.
That's true.
They can go wherever they want.
They can go. So
go wherever they want. And I would like to see them really concentrate on D. Like I think D has the makings of great anti-hero, a great hero, whatever you want to do. I think there's a lot of layers there.
Yeah.
And a really cool magic system. I think that weird black dog, hell dog thing is awesomely cool.
Yeah, like why is that one black?
Why not?
Because bad people made it.
Right? I don't even understand.
The other one was like pale. The other ones that were chasing them.
Because they came from cows, and cows make white milk, and milk is white.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like cows make. Wait, but what?
I'm gonna go with everything else she said up to this point, but
But no, can I just ask like a continuity question of like how did they come out of cows, but then they made one that came out of the ground?
that is the real question.
Okay, all right. No.
yeah.
And that's one of my problems with the weak storytelling. Is like he left.
They're definitely. That's the thing. They're definitely born. They're not like summoned out of thin air. They're definitely born out of like cows and stuff.
But are they more discussed in a different story created by by H.P. Lovecraft?
I don't know. I've never read that guy's books. I heard he was very racist.
I mean, I remember
Hyper racist.
Hyper racist.
That's true.
So Lovecraft Country is a book that other white guy wrote. And yeah.
What was it called? Lovecraft City or something? County?
No, it's called Lovecraft Country.
Yeah.
It's still called Lovecraft Country?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the book. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the book is.
I guess a lot of Lovecraft's monsters
and
and
stuff,
creations and everything in
But
the book.
heroes are black.
So is it like Lovecraft Country, the first, second, third, fourth volume, or is it Lovecraft Country, the beginning, middle, and end? Like
It's just a book.
Lovecraft Country is just a book.
It's just a book.
So is it like Lovecraft Country, Dracula's Rise?
It's just a book.
So it's just the one book.
Yeah, it's one book. It's no volume. It's not like Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's just the
There's
one.
no series. So Lovecraft Country is the name of the dude.
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft is the name of the dude.
Yes, it's something
Yeah.
separate.
H.P. Lovecraft is an author
Yes,
Author.
back in the day.
sci-fi.
So he wrote other books than Lovecraft Country.
He
No,
didn't write
He didn't
Lovecraft
write
Country.
Lovecraft Country. Mark somebody wrote
Lovecraft Country.
Okay.
that.
H.P. Lovecraft wrote a whole bunch of sci-fi books and
Yeah.
trilogies and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and in it is mad racist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this other white guy, wrote Lovecraft Country and took elements of Lovecraft's style,
Yes.
and wrote it with black protagonists
Yes.
that went.
Okay. Okay, that's dope.
Yeah.
So it's like a rewrite to kind of be like, you know what I'm saying, screw you, original creator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
he flipped it. He
It's like
flipped
a remix. You know how we do remixes?
Mm-hmm.
Then you make it real tight.
Mm-hmm.
the remix. Puffy style. Yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. P. Diddy, man. Speaking of artists, one artist that I really enjoyed the entire series, and I keep seeing about her, is Afua Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
She's the person who did all the comic books that were done. She's also done work for like Black Panther and stuff like that. And just seeing her artwork, it was just really good, really awesome artwork. The comics were nice. I mean, and besides the art that was used in the show, my other favorite part was the subtlety of the music in the background and how it related to the story of what's going on. Like there was one thing that they were talking about. There was one song that it wasn't a song; it was a poem that they did. It was "Whitey on the Moon."
Oh, it's Gil Scott Heron, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it related so well to what was going on in the actual story. And they also there was another song that I wanted to bring up. It was the song after Dee's dad died. And they were like in the kitchen cooking. And it was like an actual really sad song, even though it had a fast pace. It was like, if you read the lyrics, it was actually like a sad song that was talking about death. And what else was tight? That The Life Could Be a Dream, where it kind of circles back, where Letty first sees Ruby and they're talking about, and they're on stage and they're like, do this one song. And she's like, shaboom, she bored. We're not doing that, you know. And then by the end, on the 10th episode, they're singing it in the car. Yeah. And then the second time she starts humming it, Letty goes off like, you hate this song. Like, why are you singing? And then it like I that was one thing. Also, the inclusion of newer music in there as well. I think there was like a Janelle Monáe song in there. Was it Janelle Monáe? Who was it?
It was Lakaya 47.
Lakaya?
I think that's how you say your name. I don't know how you say her name actually out loud.
There was good music in there. There was good music. I really enjoyed it.
No, yeah. I mean, the music was definitely helping to foreshadow everything that was coming up next, and it kind of fit the scenes like perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling you guys before the show, I think music can express how you feel in any given situation. I think there's a perfect song for every situation. You know what I'm saying? Out there.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job at picking the music.
Of really setting the tempo and setting the mood and really making things like really interesting, like taking it to that next level. Like I really enjoyed the music in the show. And how much longer you guys want to go? You guys want to keep going? Are we just going to keep going on forever? I don't mind. I can keep talking about this forever. But y'all looking tired, you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to see y'all eyes glazed.
No.
Quiet. How y'all feeling?
Good.
Let's see. We can go the issues you had with the show, if any.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we all agree that Christina was the villain, right? Christina is a bad villain, like.
Yeah, Christina and her dad were the main villains, and Ruby was the villain sidekick.
Villain sidekick.
Yep.
The villain sidekick.
She was the villain sidekick.
Ruby was too entrenched with Christina not to be on that side. She was playing both sides. She was a double agent, literally.
I think she was just collateral damage.
Yeah.
She was trying to. Everything that she accused Letty of, she was herself, and she just couldn't see it.
Do you think
she was just like a more responsible Letty?
Right.
There was a point in time where they could have given the book to Christina, or at least pictures of the book, and she was like, "I'll leave y'all alone. I'll never bother you. I'll never come back again."
Yeah.
I felt as if that could have been a clear sign of Atticus getting out of dying, at least for that night. At least for
See, he was still gonna have to die.
Yeah, regardless.
He was still gonna, but she was saying she
was gonna come after that, man. Book or no.
So you think that she was still
would have given her infinite power, and what would she have done with it, right? Like that could have opened up so much more, so much worse.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
So much worse.
She could have took magic away from everybody except for her. And you know what? That brings another thing that I feel as if was another bad story point is Hannah, the spell. So I realized that all of this was a spell, a complicated spell that she created to be used in this instance to remove magic from everybody, right? So that was the worst spell that she could think of. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Yeah, just taking magic. So really, that's about as creative as we could get. Is that like a times thing? Like, what is that? Like, that's no magic for real. That's all you're gonna do. That's all you're gonna do. Just no magic. Just no.
Maybe she understood the power of what it could do, and so she stripped it from them.
I don't know.
Cause she know more than what we knew.
I would be on some like Freaky Friday. I would be on something else. Like I would be like, we're gonna switch places. I don't know. I would have different ideas.
That's why
you switch roles.
I mean, I just want what's fair. I don't
think that that spell is like final, because clearly these spells can be broken and lifted. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
It feels like most of these spells are temporary. Like even when the cop had, like, I guess the black person's skin and body on his, like he had it, and I guess he got shot or killed at some point, and he was saving his own life over again by taking all these. But like these spells don't seem it almost feels like they're missing something to make these spells permanent. Because every spell that seems like was cast was lifted somehow. Like no spell was permanent in this show.
That's true. And I mean, I think that's what goes further what they were going for, because the main thing they were going for at the end was immortality, right? Like that was like the main goal that they were shooting for.
Yeah. But even immortality, there's something that can break that spell. It's not permanent.
There always is. But I thought that was one way that the story could have ended right there. And she was helpful up to the point. Like she just had given Letty invulnerability spell for something else. She was giving up information. She said up and down that she was an ally or whatever. And I felt as if that was one thing. Ruby dying off screen, like I thought that was kind of whack. Like you're dying off screen. Like why does Ruby have to die off screen?
I don't feel like Ruby's dead though.
Maybe that's what it is. It's the ambiguousness of knowing that she can be returned.
I mean,
like Ruby is going to be Christine next season.
No, I think she's probably dead beside William, in that coma state.
She is. Like they did that in that screen. They did like a
flash
thing, and she was in the bed.
Oh.
Her body is still alive.
Yeah,
so Christina about to use her body as a vessel.
Christina's dead.
Christina's dead. She had her throat ripped out.
You can't come back from that. So.
Yeah, that was.
She ain't come back.
You know what I'm saying? She crushed it, man.
She figured something out where she transferred her spirit the moment she died.
She did something. You think she got slick? I don't know.
No, but she ain't got no magic. She ain't got no magic.
You want to know why she's definitely dead? Because she was asking for help. So there was no plan. There was no I got this compartment right
here. Man, I don't trust it. It's some type of switcheroo done happened somewhere.
Them townspeople come from, and where the hell did they go?
Huh?
Where the hell did them townspeople come from, and where the hell did they go?
That is true.
Like, are they dead? Is everybody? I'm feeling like everybody that lives on that grounds is like a spirit or something.
Like, how they just pop up out of nowhere and then they just magically disappear?
They were super creepy.
Or were they those little vampire things turn human?
Nah, I don't think they turn human. I hope not. Because then that would mean that the people have been messing with the cows.
Maybe.
Which is.
I mean, the cows technically are giving birth. You know what I'm saying?
Stop.
Is it a dog? Is it a dog? But were there any issues that you guys had with it? Like, those were my main issues. Was really the development of Dee. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel as if she has great makings of being a mean and angry character, an anti-hero. In her own spin-off that I pray for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she definitely seems like she's about to be that shadowy figure that no one knows where she is anymore. They can't find her. She out here, exacting black people's revenge or something. Yo. But my issue with this whole thing was how quick Uncle George died, man. I hated that. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Hey, so simply too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so simple.
I knew he was coming back at some point in the season. Like, I knew he wasn't dead, but he never came back to serve any real purpose after he died. Like, I'm thinking this man knows about magic. He believes. You know what I'm saying? He might be
too helpful.
Yo, he was helpful. He was helpful. He was supportive. He was nice.
You needed Montrose messing stuff up.
Yeah, Montrose was just sabotaging the whole thing.
You needed a person that understood what was happening and just messing it up.
Right.
I mean, I think it was.
It's like Montrose knows exactly what's happening, but he just tripping He's like the guy that just messes everything up on purpose.
Like, he knew everything way ahead of time, and I think he just didn't believe in Tick, which is part of my issue with Montrose. Like, he either didn't trust or didn't believe in Tick, or thought that what they were facing was too much. And I think it was one of those things of just really like a bad parent kind of spinning out of control. Like, I don't know what to do, but you're not going to do it. You're not here in my house. Get out of my house. Like, I'm going to follow you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to help you out. And then I'm going to kill the help that you guys got. And then I'm going to burn everything.
Fear.
And then tell you that I did it. And then, let you be my ass.
But too, they alluded to the fact that he can remember things, photographically. Mm-hmm. Did that even really come into play?
Yeah, because of the dysgraphia. I mean, not the dysgraphia, the dyslexia.
Wait, so he was remembering it wrong.
How does dyslexia work again?
You confuse letters and numbers and words and stuff like that. And it looks wrong. But if I can tell you what I saw, right, then you can figure out what I'm talking about. Does that make sense?
It does. But then I feel like I would be frustrated with you because you still remembered the words wrong.
You remember this perfectly wrong.
Like, I remember what the book said.
So you can decipher. You can decipher it.
You gotta decipher it. You got no choice.
They had this man Montrose, the one reading off the spell, and I'm like, this man is saying the spell wrong. He
That was a little bit confusing because I was like,
That's why the dog was black this time. It didn't have the right.
That's wrong.
Like, that's Montrose dog right there. That's the one.
Montrose read that spell.
Right.
I still like he was a character that I didn't like, but I like to not like him. You know what I'm saying? Like he was still like, I don't know, like engaging as a character. I don't know.
It's a complicated man.
He's a complicated man, and I'm gonna leave it at that. He's a complicated dude.
I will say, because I said I was gonna circle back to it, I was quite peeved at how they killed off Yahima, because you don't see a lot of two-spirit representation, and to introduce that character and then to literally silence them.
Yeah.
Literally silence.
They're trying to have a second season now. They're trying to have a second season.
Nah. I mean, that's how they started off when they were first introducing like gay characters. They would like give them these tragic deaths and all this stuff. And it's like a terrible trope that they do of like, as if it's just, I feel like that was a huge misstep. And they could have, first of all, you don't see a lot of indigenous representation. Let's just start with that.
You know what?
And then to have a two-spirit representation that was like, wow, and like yank.
I mean, but really in 1920s, like how are y'all gonna do that? Like how are y'all?
I don't know. They could have figured it out. They could have figured it out.
You're right.
I mean, they look like a woman, so they could have passed, you know, as a Native American, I guess.
Trans people have always been around. They would have figured it out. They would have figured it out.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, that's my little pet peeve. That really just ticked me off.
Was there
the ball tag, and I was like, whoa! I was like, hold up.
Now you look at boobies all day long. You be all right with a ball tag.
I caught me off guard because then you starting up here, but then you go down like, yo.
You're like, Wait. Oh.
Right.
You be all right.
Was there anything else that you guys had issues with in the show?
Not really. Anything you can think of?
No.
It was overall a great show, man.
It was
fantastic show.
Solid. Like it set the bar so high for anything of that nature afterwards. Like,
so how do you think this show would stack up against your recent favorites?
I mean, I gotta put it at least, it's definitely top 2. I'm not even sure what number 2 would be, but this had everything.
Yeah.
Like when I say it was a complete show, it had mystery, it had action, it had drama.
Yep.
It had a little bit of comedy up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know what else can top it. Not in 2020.
I agree. You know why they call me Tree, right? Just playing. So there was definitely for me, I like this show a lot. I would say this is definitely like my first or second favorite show of this year, which is up there with The Boys.
Yeah.
And Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was just a guy. Like I'm still choosing anime. I don't care if y'all hear it.
Anime up in there.
And Watchmen. Watchmen was still very good. You know what I'm saying? Regina killed that role. You know what I'm saying? Like
perfect. She was perfect.
She was perfect. Absolutely. Like she deserves an award for that performance. But so does Atticus and Letitia. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about.
Journey.
Smollett.
Yes. Smollett?
Yes.
Small yay.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, that's juicy small yay.
That's so funny.
You didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was to that. And it shouldn't matter anyway.
Right, it shouldn't.
She did a good job.
Several of them are in acting.
Right? It shouldn't matter anyway.
Ooh, small yay?
Yeah, she was just always the most famous one for a while.
Right. Yeah, she's been doing it. I think she's been doing it for, I guess, longer. Right?
Kid.
Yeah.
Well, they had it was like a family show when they first started out. But like the whole family acts. It's a whole bunch. I said 30,000 of them. I don't know how actually.
So they're like the Waynes?
But it's a whole bunch of them. But she was the most famous.
I had no idea.
And she's like, a lot of her acting is usually period acting, like The Great Debaters.
Right.
Underground. She was
Underground.
Never seen.
She does a lot of historical. Roles.
Yeah, that's true.
East Bayou is even historical.
Yeah, East Bayou. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. I seen East Bayou. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, East Bayou. Wow. That was her. Way back. Wow.
I remember Roll Bounce. She was in there.
Roll Bounce?
She was in Roll Bounce.
Wow. She had the braces on.
I should have done. I did not look at IMDb. I meant to do that. I should have done that. I had no idea that she was that big of a star.
Yeah, she's been doing it for a while, but she's the only one that I recognize.
Well, I recognize Jonathan.
Well, I didn't know Juicy did anything before.
Juicy.
That is not
name.
It's not.
It's Jesse.
Juicy Smollett.
You know what?
Not Juicy.
Juicy Smollett.
What's that? Juicy. Juicy Smollett, man. That's his name.
Okay.
And that's his name now ever since Dave Chappelle
roasted him.
I can't.
What about you guys? How does this stack up against your recent favorite shows, y'all two?
It can even be stuff that's not like nerdy. What y'all got?
We'll let y'all slide this time.
Like Grey's Anatomy or something?
No.
Right. I know y'all both watch it.
Yeah.
This is us.
I didn't know that.
This is not in the same category.
Okay.
I would actually say I like this better than Watchmen because I feel like to understand Watchmen, you have to watch the actual Watchmen movie.
Oh.
To know what's happening and to understand the context. Because otherwise it gets mad confusing. Because I had my dad watch the Watchmen series because my dad's really into history and he just was like, what? And why is there this blue man? Why am I looking at his penis? I do not understand what is happening. Like, what in the world?
It's too much ball action.
It was a lot of ball action.
Ball movement. It was.
He doesn't look at boobies all day, so I appreciate he's not with the boobies or the balls.
He's not.
He's not with many of the nudity. And so it was really hard trying to explain all of it to get him to understand what was going on in the miniseries.
That's true.
Versus I feel like you can just watch Lovecraft Country in and of itself and it stands alone solidly. It makes sense by itself.
True.
I don't like The Boys as much as he likes The Boys.
The Boys is one of the best shows that I have seen.
Because it's like the superheroes are the villains in that.
Oh, bro!
I like it.
It's awesome. We should definitely do a show about that too.
Well, what is yours?
I'm thinking because this is like a tie for one, but I'm just thinking.
You can say top 3. You can just start saying your favorites. No judgments here. You don't even have to put it in an order.
Lovecraft Country at 1.
Okay.
And Watchmen at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then God, gosh, I was just recently watching it.
Probably Braxton Family Values.
You don't stop coming for her. You don't stop that.
Is it going to be? Was it Dance Dolls? Dance Dolls?
First of all, both of y'all don't cut this out.
DD4L. DD4L. How's it said?
I don't remember us putting down anything that y'all watch.
I know.
Matter of fact, we sit there and we watch it because we trying to ingrain ourselves in y'all lives. That's why we're for us.
Are the ones that she wants to name.
What?
That's how I know, because I be trying to watch the Braxtons.
So
I try.
That's all I watch is.
No, that's not all you watch. You watch The Boys but what's the third one? What you trying to name? I was just trying to give you.
What were you trying to give me?
The idea.
Some help. You're trying to give you some possibilities.
Thank you. See, D?
What'd she say?
It's just options. There's no wrong with options. Options?
I got you. It's fine. It's fine. They don't even matter.
So of course, the third one is Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Game of Thrones was good. Like before the last season, like Game of Thrones was awesome. Game of Thrones was.
You know what? I can't even hate on the last season. I mean, the Ice King was kind of anticlimactic.
A little bit.
Yeah, a lot. We ain't even gonna say a little bit. He went out like pretty quick, like easily.
I mean, for the build-up, he didn't. He didn't deliver.
Yeah, at all.
And then it was Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Ooh, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was awesome. Yeah. She did not like Breaking Bad.
Really?
No.
She has not gotten past the third episode. She saw the third episode and she was like, "Science teachers don't do this stuff."
I mean,
this ain't real. This would never happen.
She was sitting there looking like science teachers don't teach like this. I know. Like, I'm just like, yo, man, like, can't we just enjoy it? Like he's selling mad. Like,
nah.
I like this. Ain't nobody
wants to get away with this foolishness. It would be a white man. I want to be very clear about that. But this ain't happening.
Named Heisenberg. For real.
This ain't happening.
Nah. Cooking meth.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Nah.
I might go back and watch Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was awesome. Did you guys see El Camino?
No.
No, but
I don't think I could watch anything with Jesse by himself.
I like Jesse, but I heard from several people that was terrible, but I still want to watch it though. But.
Jesse did good in Westworld. When he was in Westworld, oh my God, Westworld was good too. Westworld was really
great.
We did like Westworld. Westworld was low.
I'm gonna put Westworld as my number 3.
Westworld.
Like Wire.
The Wire. Oh, The Wire is old though. The Wire is.
That was a great show too.
Yeah, The Wire was good.
Yeah. I mean,
hold on. It was whatever season was the one with the little kids was the best season.
Now that is an accurate portrayal of what be happening in schools.
Yes, that was good.
Tell you what be happening in schools. That.
Right. Oh my, yeah, that's facts. That do happen.
They did a lot of truth telling. The like that show was almost as much a documentary as it was like just an entertaining show.
Yeah. People really think like, yo, Baltimore, if I go to Baltimore, this is exactly what I should expect.
I mean,
depends on which areas you visit, you know what I'm saying? Like there's good and bad places in all places.
I've seen people running down the street with microwaves in Baltimore. I mean, it was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it does depend on where you live.
I'm not gonna say it like that. It's not exactly.
It depends on where you live. Where we live, we were fine.
There is crime and bad policing everywhere.
He got pulled over a lot.
It's everywhere.
It's
everywhere. I think that that it's a great show. I think that all those shows are fantastic shows.
Yeah. All right.
That was one of my favorite. Yeah, hey. I'm glad we did this.
This was fun.
This is fun.
More often.
Yeah, we gotta do this more often,
Y'all gotta bone up on the anime and stuff for the next time.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
Like
we should do a show called How to Get your significant other into anime with you, and we could talk about how y'all slowly introduced us into
Oh,
anime.
y'all gonna tell us how we should do it?
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, well, you better watch it. You better watch it. You best not complain about watching it. You best be happy to
Exactly. We're
watch
gonna
it.
follow these steps.
But if I
step
ask
by
questions,
step.
just make sure you don't get upset.
I'm not gonna get upset.
Okay.
I don't get upset about questions.
No, never upset. Always calm and gentle.
Is there any things that you guys would like to end on? Is there anything like you guys?
I think this was a good show, man. A good overview of like the Lovecraft Country show. I had fun. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, I had tons of fun.
I can't wait to do this again. This is Coldplay Media, and we are out of here. Do. Now, there we go. There we go. I was wondering about that part. I didn't know how we were going. I'm sorry, Drew. I know we ran over longer than we expected. How was it? Was it good? Was it straight? Was it good? Juicy content.
Juicy.
Oh, God.
Juicy small. Yeah.
Oh God.
Juicy. Oh, yeah.
Ever since Dave Chappelle,
You have not said that man's name right since.
that's because that's not his name anymore.
Terrible.
When did you guys stop watching? What was the name of the show that he was on? Spotlight?
Empire.
You know what? I didn't